we have to take a bit of ownership for our experience, and we have to do it in meaningful ways so that we can start to have the kind of engagement with each other that we deserve. Welcome to the Humaning Well podcast. Thanks for joining me. My name is Amber Cabral. So I've been getting messages online from folks who are learning to human better and are listening to this podcast, and I'm super grateful for your ears. And they are struggling with how to get some real traction. So it's like I'm listening to these episodes and I'm hearing things that are really, useful and helping me learn. But at the same time, I don't really know where to get started, like to actually make some meaningful traction. Because, changing your mindset and behaviors can seem really easy when you're just listening to the podcast. But what we're talking about is change that has to really happen like at the core of your being. And that takes like some intentional effort and some intentional attention. So right now, a good amount of the internet is self-care centered, which I think is great. People want to be better. And candidly, it's about time that we want to be better. But a lot of it is very capitalistic. It's buying things. It's doing expensive activities. It's taking trips and, to places that are very luxurious. It's participating in performative care. And let me be very clear. I enjoy a little performative care from time to time, right? But we also have to make sure that we understand that truly humaning well, right? Caring for ourselves as humans as a whole is not just the fluffy stuff. It's about changing your mindset and your life to make taking better care of yourself and your community and your family sustainable for the duration. Like the goal is for you to human better for your life, like period. And so that means you have to recognize that we can't create inclusive spaces or have equitable access or promote fairness by leaving ourselves off the table, by not considering what we need or by running ourselves ragged. So I do spend a lot of this podcast making sure that like you are thinking about you and what you need and how you're taking care of yourself so that you can show up. What Humaning Well is about at its core is about getting you to build some resilience so you can show up, whether that's for yourself, for your community, for your family, wherever else you want to make an impact. And that's a big concept. I mean, think about it. I'm essentially trying to convince people to consider how much better the world could be if we were intentional about building the skills, tools, resilience necessary to navigate it. How much better might our health be if people were intentional about building lives and systems around what contributes to positive health outcomes instead of just like, make sure you find a few minutes to squeeze in the gym, or make sure that you, eat this dust that is green so that you get your optimal amount of greens for today, right? Like that's not like really health. It's like a Band-Aid to fix it. It's not being thoughtful about the way that we should be living our life to consume and engage with systems that actually will make us better. And the only way we can get there is if we are thoughtful about it, and we have to be thoughtful about it for ourselves first. How much more security might we have in our futures if we were intentional about planning for wealthy lives, and wealth including time and money, so where we can earn income and save wisely and use our time and resources in ways that truly serve us and truly make the world better? How might the quality of our relationships grow if we were skillful and purposeful with how we communicate, if we were practiced at meaningful connection, at setting boundaries, at regulating our emotions, at advocating for ourselves? I was having a conversation with my assistant the other day, and she, I asked her very pointedly, what is something that you feel like you've learned from me while you have been working here? And she was like, I learned that I should not take the first no, because we do. People say no and you keep going instead of pushing back. And so like, what if we were good at that? What if we were good at communicating what we need and deserve and pushing back in the ways that really matter to the experience that we want to have? How great could life be if we were growing in ways that expanded our cultural awareness or helped us to have more courage or led us to overcome our fears? What might it look like if our families did this? Not just us independently, but our families or our communities. Oh my gosh, our workplaces or our nation and the world. Like, what if it was that? Like, what if we actually took human wellness into consideration around how we live? And here's the thing. I've built cultures at some of the world's biggest companies. I've helped support culture building at some of the world's biggest companies. You can put all the words on the wall you want. You can say all the things that you want to do. It's not real until on an individual action-packed level, it's happening. And so when I'm talking about humaning well, I am thinking about that. I am thinking about not rugged individualism, go it alone, figure your own way out, but like we have to take a bit of ownership for our experience, and we have to do it in meaningful ways so that we can start to have the kind of engagement with each other that we deserve. Now, I know this feels lofty and, it probably feels like I am reaching. But I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm tired of living in a world where everyone is anxious all the time, where we operate like we don't get a say on, our experiences. I am tired of exhaustion and self-sacrifice being the formula for success. Like I can remember working myself to the bone, to turn something in that had to be done yesterday and getting it to the finish line and someone being grateful for it, but like ultimately it not even get looked at until the following week. Like how often have we done that? I am over that. I am over passing down survival advice to mentees so that they can navigate unwell mindsets in the workplace or survive toxic parenting. Like I want us to thrive. And I just know that has to start with us thinking about us. And a lot of us haven't been taught to think about us. Now, there's some people in the world who have, right? Who are, wealthy, financially well off. And, they think about themselves all the time. But there's a lot of us that are not doing it. We're not even willing to push back and challenge in the ways that benefit us. And I want us to human better for and with each other. And we have to start with that. And so I have decided that the way to bring this to life is for me to live differently based on the copious amounts of knowledge. I mean, there is neuroscience data. There is, data from mental health practitioners. There is so much knowledge that we have about what humans need to actually be well. And humaning well is essentially asking you to participate by living differently. That's what I'm doing with this podcast. And so I'm giving you all the things that I am learning and doing and trying. And I am as candid as I can be about the mistakes because I make many of them. But I just know that this world doesn't have to feel the way that it does if we are thoughtful about the way we are engaging with each other and have to start with ourselves to do that. That said, I am seeing the comments from people who are, saying things like, I've replayed this episode several times, or, sharing that they, have had to go back and like rewrite the questions and wanted to like take a moment and sit with them, or they're unsure where to start, but they know that they need to get started and they need to be serious about this because they can feel how it can make a difference. And I am paying attention to those notices, those comments that are, coming through. And so I have decided that I am going to do another series. Okay, so this capsule series is going to give you the baby steps to get started. If you are like, yo, this humaning well thing, I'm bought in, I believe it, I just don't know where to begin, this is going to be the series for you. Now, maybe I may have done this out of order because our first series was the Stay Ready capsule. And I was thinking about, the things that we were navigating in the current climate. And please go back and listen to that because there were a lot of nuggets that I got a lot of great feedback on. And so there's some things in there that you may want to pull, but I think maybe I should have done this one first. And so let's call this one the Get Grounded capsule. That's what this is going to be about. And over the next 4 episodes, I am going to give you the grounding for you to start humaning well in your own life. We are going to deep dive on some things that are foundational to shifting your mindset toward humaning better. Like, what are the things that you absolutely got to have like locked in the brain, when you got to go back and touch home base to, or glue to know that you're going to be good. What are those things? And so we're going to work through those in the month of July. So next week's episode is going to be the official, start. This is, the opener. So I guess this is episode 1. So next week's episode will be episode 2 for the Get Grounded capsule. And it's going to be about emotional regulation. And I'm going to start with, what do you do if you're feeling exhausted or overwhelmed? And whether that happens in moments where it's like fleeting, or if it's a state that you feel like you're constantly in and need to overcome. We're going to cover what shifts you can take, what things you can do, how you can change your mindset to have access to regulation and not feel overwhelmed. We will also discuss what emotional regulation actually means, because some people think that it means that you are calm all the time, and it doesn't mean that. because I'm not calm all the time. And the feelings got to go somewhere. So we'll get into that because, honestly, if you're just suppressing or putting modalities on top of the overwhelm, you're actually not humaning well and maybe making things worse. So we're going to talk about all of that and a number of other things on our journey to getting grounded. And I can also tell you that the episode after that will deep dive something I say all the time. And people are like, what? I can't believe you do that. And I literally live my life by this. And that is, you can have whatever you want. And you can. So we will talk about how you too can have whatever you want, including how you even get clear about what you want, because a lot of us have never really given it much thought. We don't, in some cases, we haven't even given ourselves permission to want. And I'll prove this to you actually. This week, go ask a couple people, what do they want for the next year? And I guarantee you in their answer, they're going to tell you a lot more about what they don't want. Like, it's just not a thing we're good at. And so we're going to talk about that. And then the last two parts of this new capsule, I will announce on some future episodes. I'm sorting out what those will look like, but this is part one. And this capsule series will essentially cover the entire month of July in 2025. So there'll be essentially 5 parts. Each one will come out on a Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it will help you. That said, I have a few announcements. First, Humaning Well coaching applications are open. You can go to ambercabral.com. The link is in the show notes. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, please go and check it out. There are 3 different ways that we could potentially work together. And, this podcast is basically free coaching. So if you get a lot from this show and you potentially want to work together one-on-one to accelerate in some specific ways, because maybe you are navigating workplace or career change, or you're starting something new, or you just want to be more effective, a better communicator in your current space, coaching may be an option for you. Space is limited. I can only coach so many folks at a time, but there are 3 ways that you can work with me. So if you're interested, go to ambercabral.com and check that out. And that link is also in the show notes. The second announcement I have is I'm going to be doing a bit more around this podcast and just in general. I was having a conversation with Karen Hunter, and we were talking about some things that were just really good nuggets and epiphanies that I had gotten from her Healthy, Wealthy, Wise retreat. And, I'm like, okay, I need to do a little more connection. So I walked away with so much clarity, and I am trying to be honorable with this new knowledge and show up a bit differently. So starting in July, I will also be going live weekly so that we can have a bit of discussion about the podcast. And so I'll be sharing a bit more in terms of resources as well, but we will have more touch points, and I will give you more detail about this as it happens. In fact, the best way for you to keep up, because I do shoot these episodes in batches, is make sure that you're signed up for my newsletter, or you can follow me on the socials. I use Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn the most, but the links for all of those are in the show notes so that you can at least have awareness. I will usually post it when I'm going to go live and stream, and you'll be able to join in and chat with me that way, because I really want us to get free, y'all. I really do. Okay. Last announcement. You can kind of keep up with all things Humaning Well podcast by going to humaningwellpodcast.com. So HUMANING well, WELL podcast.com. That link is also in the show notes. It is a beautiful site. So if you're looking for something that you heard here, or you're wondering what I'm working on, or where I am, or what I'm teaching, or if I have a free course coming up, or whatever it is, that's a great spot to kind of just go and click around. Also, the site is pretty. So just go take a look at it at the very least, to take it in, because it looks nice and it took a lot of work. That's the episode. I am looking forward to going on this journey with you. Please share the podcast. I'm working really hard to get this podcast to grow. I'm also working really hard to be responsive to what I am hearing around your ideas and comments. So please share the episode. If you have any thoughts that you want to share with me, please comment. Please also subscribe. Feel free to reach out to me also on the socials if it's not something you want to leave in a comment. I do eventually get to all of the comments, but it does take me a bit of time. But if I see it, I will definitely reply. So thank you for tuning in. I am looking forward to getting into episode 2 of the Getting Grounded capsule next week, and we'll talk soon.